We got breaking news. Trump's Department of Justice wants a 1-day sentence for the cop involved in the Breonna Taylor killing. Okay, put it up for a man. We have the update. So according to CNN, Trump's Justice Department is asking that a former police officer found guilty of violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor in 2020 when she was shot and killed by police in her home be sentenced to 1 day in jail. The officer, Brett Hankinson of Kentucky, was convicted on 1 count of abusing Taylor's civil rights last year after firing several shots through Taylor's bedroom window during a police raid. He is said to be sentenced on Monday, but in a court filing Wednesday, the Justice Department argued that although the cop, quote, was part of the team executing the warrant, defendant Hankinson did not shoot Miss Taylor and is not otherwise responsible for her death, end quote. The request for Hankinson to serve 1 day behind bars would mean a sentence of time served, meaning that he would not return to jail. They are also asking the judge to sentence him to 3 years of supervised release. The filing was signed not by lawyers involved in the case or the career staff who usually handle sentencing requests. But this particular order was signed by Trump appointees. Those appointees are assigned to run the Civil Rights Department. You have Harmeet Dillon, and a senior non-career official in her division. I'm going to give you a reminder of what happened in just a moment, but just take this in. Trump appointees have come in. They have taken the case away from the career prosecutors who were involved. They have decided to pull rank so that this individual gets no jail time. I want you to keep this in perspective. If a teenager happens to be in the vehicle with somebody who commits a felony and they have knowledge of said crime, that teenager is charged along with the person who actually committed the crime. Various states have various ways to do this. Some states call it their gang statute, etc. But basically, every prosecutor in every state has the authority to charge everyone who is involved, even if one person pulled the trigger and was at the scene. But when it comes to police officers, all of a sudden, we get a lens of nuance that simply doesn't apply to the everyday human being, not even to a teenager who is in an immature situation. But grown men who are trained in the law get the benefit of the doubt in ways that a child who has never been trained in the law never would. Does that seem fair to you? Taylor was shot during a botched no-knock warrant, if you remember. This was a raid back in 2020 when the officers were searching for Taylor's ex-boyfriend. We'll put the picture back up for a minute. They were searching for Taylor's ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend, according to them, was a heavy narcotics dealer, okay? Taylor's boyfriend at the time, Kenneth Walker III, later said he thought they were intruders and opened fire at police officers. Officers returned fire, including Hankinson, who was accused of blindly firing through a patio door and a window. The bullets pierced into the neighboring apartment where a pregnant woman, a man, and a child were home. That's according to prosecutors. Hankinson was fired from the police department in late June 2020, and an apparent criticism of the Biden-era Justice Department's handling of the case under Trump's DOJ noted in their Wednesday filing that Hankinson, the cop, was acquitted in a state trial and that the first federal trial ended in a mistrial. In this case, 2 federal trials were ultimately necessary to obtain a unanimous verdict of guilt, prosecutors wrote. But even then, the jury convicted on only 1 count, despite the fact that the elements of the charge and underlying conduct are essentially the same. Understand this is a massive reality that we are in today. Under any other theory of a crime, everybody who decided to engage in the crime, they are responsible for said crime. Now, the reality is this: it didn't just end there. The crime started before you even got to that point. How? Well, they deceived the magistrate judge to sign the warrant. They then engaged in a cover-up after the shooting because they had one person who had already turned state witness against them who was in that conversation. So what about those? What about the reality of the cover-up, the prerequisite manipulation that led to the warrant in the first place? All of that. A human being who was a person that saved lives, a first responder, is dead. That is how much her life is worth to them one day. One day. All right. Tehran, thoughts, brother?
I am flabbergasted. I'm disgusted, but I cannot say I'm not surprised. This administration has consistently had a prerequisite of white supremacy, blue supremacy, and anything and everything that stands for tyranny. This is not about politics. This is not Republican, Democrat. This is humanity versus complacency. This is democracy versus oppression. We are looking at the beginning of the end. I cannot sound the alarm enough. One day is all that Breonna Taylor's life is worth. As you mentioned, Dr. Ritchie, let me explain that Breonna Taylor was murdered. They were looking for her ex-boyfriend. If that was the case, I know a lot of girls that might be murdered today. Remember, this could happen to you. And the way it looks like, more increasingly, it just might.
Yeah, and that's why we have to continue to bring light to it. All right.